to welcome members to the 114th meeting of the Corporation of Scouts Canada. It's wonderful to be here in person again, and I'm honored to be hosting the AGM for you today. I have a special welcome to our voting members who are joining us in person in the room, and to all of the voting members who are joining us remotely online. I would also like to recognize and welcome JF Champagne, John Estrella, and Derek Robertson, three of our honorary voting members. Thank you for joining us today. Before we formally begin the AGM, I would like to invite National Board Member Rodney Nelson up to the podium to deliver a land acknowledgement. Rodney.
Bonjour, Kwekwe, and welcome to unceded Algonquin territory. I would give you a little bit of a story because I was thinking about what I could tell you that would be relevant. And since we just went through our Sasquatch adventures, I would give you a small story about what my elders told me about the big people or Sasquatch. A long time ago, there was 3 different people that roamed the earth. There was the little people, the big people, and us. And we loved our technology so much, and we used our technology all the time. The big people, the Bigfoot, the Sasquatch, they were called, they liked nature. They didn't want to use technology. And the little people used magic, and they wanted to always use the magic and go about that. Now, we always made a mess because we were using technology and we made a mess, and the little people get mad at us. So they quite often would trick us by doing things, by moving our water bottles or doing things like that. And they missed one thing that we had, which was actually tobacco. And tobacco is the sacred medicine, So when you enter into the waterways, because they live a lot along the waterways, is where they enjoy, quite often we put tobacco down and thank them for allowing us to move through the waterways. During a time when they were getting all frustrated with each other, they all got together in a council fire, basically, and they said, what are we going to do? So the Sasquatch ended up moving off into the bush and disappearing forever. They said, you'll never see us again. The little people said, we're going to use our magic to disappear. And you guys can have the rest and go about your business with your technology. So the 3 groups separated and went their own way. And so part of leaving no trace and enjoying the land that we canoe on, that we go out in the backwoods as well, is that we always have to respect those that are also out there, including that illustrious Sasquatch that we were all hunting for when we were out there. So on that note, I would just like to give a small prayer, which is Che Miigwech Ajamado for the 2-legged, the 4-legged, the 6-legged, and 8, for those that fly and those that swim. We're blessed to be here together in good work and in good heart and a good mind and a good soul. Miigwech.
Thank you very much, Rodney. I would now welcome Patricia Baker, who is our National Elections Officer, to provide an overview of how voting is going to take place during the AGM.
Great, thank you and welcome. We have been using technology at our AGM for several years. This year is no different, maybe a little faster as technology improves. We will be using Slido. All of the voting reps received that link, and I think you tested it on your way in, so we should be ready to go. We do need to check a few things. We are voting can you get the next slide there, Kevin? We are using the technology. We've got our QR codes, and we're going to test our system. If you have any trouble at any time, put up your hand. Someone will come and help you. Those online can use the elections at scouts.ca email if you are having trouble. Most of our voters are in person, which is really amazing this year. So in order to test our Slido, we are going to try a test vote. There is no right or wrong answer this time. This will help us also determine how long it takes to receive the votes through the system. All right, we are all set now. That took about 30 seconds to get everybody's vote in. So each time we have a vote presented to the floor, we will have a slight delay until we announce, generally around 30 seconds. We'll allow you that time to vote.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Patricia. We'll now formally start the annual general meeting. Justin Chenier, our National Youth Commissioner, is going to start by leading us through a moment of silence to remember those who have gone home.
Next slide. Oh, is this working? Next slide, please. Adam Flint, Al Richards, Barb Wicks, Brenda Bleaky, Brian Akeen, Bruce Brown, Bruce Edward Bomer, Caroline Lloyd, Daniel Pardy, Daryl Leatham, David Crawford, David William Hubley, Ellen Hole, Gail Morrow, Gary Mitchell, Greg Koopmans, Jerry Birch, Gord Wadsworth, Greg Ehrman, Jack Davidson, Jack Masters, Janet King, Joseph Fong, Kelly Forshaw, Ken McLeod, Kim Hill, Larry Palmer, Liz Chenier, Lynn Holden, Melanie McRae, Melanie Tucker, Michael Dove, Michael Wilcox, Nathan Hayward, Peter Champagne, Rebecca Robar, Rob Johnson, Rob Bob Stedman, Robert Willie Arundel, Alan Thompson, Vivian Hugh, Terrence John Mortimer, Tom Fitzgerald, Trevor McCleary, Václav Honza, Vera Schroeter, and please ask you to join us in a moment of silence. Thank you.
Thanks, Justin. I will now ask Liam Burns, our Chief Commissioner and CEO, to share special regrets for the
Regrets that we've received from honorary voting members include Andrew Molson, Consiglio Danino, David Eustace, John Naismith, Jason Anderson, Richard Thomas, and Craig Kilberger.
All right. Move into the approval of the minutes.
Sure, so I'd like to move the motion that the minutes of the 113th meeting of the Corporation of Scouts Canada held on November 18th, 2023, as circulated, be approved.
Perfect. Can I ask for a seconder? And those who are seconding, if you could please say your name and council, it would be appreciated. So, calling for a seconder. Okay. Thank you, Andrew. Repeat it. Okay. So that was carried by Andrew Dallas as the seconder. Thank you. Okay. Yep. Can I please get a show of hands for all in favor? And those online on Slido. Sorry. Yes, thank you.
Motion carried.
Wonderful. Thanks, Pat. Okay, we're now going to move into the next section, which is the report for the Board of Governors. So I'm going to pop over here and do that for you. All right. All right. So, oh, sorry, I'm going to go back one. There we go. So again, good afternoon, Scouts Canada members, volunteers, and leaders. As you know, I'm Jordan Moore, and I'm the chair of the Board of Governors. It's an absolute honor and privilege to present this report on behalf of the board for fiscal 2024. Our Board of Governors holds dual responsibility. First, ensuring strong organizational oversight, and second, guiding Scouts' strategic vision, aligning our efforts to support our mission of empowering youth across Canada. I would like to ask all members of the Board of Directors to please stand and be acknowledged. I want to personally thank each of you for your time and your expertise and your volunteer commitment over this past fiscal year. Thank you. This year, like many NSOs, as we heard from Deanna from WASM this morning, Scouts Canada has experienced a tremendous resurgence. Our youth membership is up 9% over last year, which demonstrates the resilience of our community and the need for Scouting's values and programs nationwide. We held over 600 youth engagement events across Canada, giving young people the opportunity to develop skills, build resilience, and contribute to their communities. A memorable moment for me personally was a group of young female Scouters last year, right after the AGM, who came up to me in excitement and shared that it was wonderful to see a female as the first female as a board chair. I knew in that moment that representation truly matters, and I was absolutely humbled by the unique opportunity that we all have as leaders to inspire and lead inclusively. Last year was filled with achievements that reinforced our influence and positive impact across the country. We celebrated PJ 24, a gathering of over 3,000 youth at Camp Bernard, youth and volunteers at Camp Bernard, and we marked the 50th anniversary of Beaver Scouting that was celebrated by over 6,000 participants nationwide. These events exemplify the spirit of Scouting, and they strengthen our commitment to fostering community, resilience, and a sense of adventure. Our inaugural volunteer recruitment campaign brought in over 1,000 new leads. This underscores the enthusiasm for Scouting's mission and provides a solid foundation for sustainable growth for us. Sorry, I think I've missed. I'm just going to skip ahead here. Sorry. There we go. Sorry. Moving to organizational governance. As part of our commitment to robust governance and continuous improvement, we implemented new structures and processes this year to reinforce effective oversight. We added co-chairs to our board committees, which enhances our succession planning and provides leadership opportunities and prepares future board leaders. Additionally, we established a financial oversight committee staffed with external CPA expertise, and they're focused on maintaining Scouts Canada's financial sustainability and managing our long-term financial health. A key piece of work that has already come out of this newly struck committee is our recently approved investment policy, which is going to guide responsible investments for our future. Board professional development is also a standing topic at every board meeting. This past, we covered topics off on property, risk, financial literacy, safeguarding, and ESG, environmental social governance. We also deepened the connection between governance and operations by welcoming the Scouts Canada executive leadership team to our board meetings. Organizations function best when there's a solid relationship between board and the leadership team. That's built through strong communication and a good working relationship. By having the functional expertise of the executive leadership team in the boardroom with us, it enabled us to have meaningful discussions and ultimately be better equipped to make evidence-informed, timely decisions for the organization. So that was my slide here. Sorry, sneak peek on some of these. So if I could just ask the NK3 to stand, as well as the executive leadership team to stand. I just wanted to acknowledge all of your work and dedication and support to the board. So thank you. I also want to acknowledge Robin and Emily. They support on all of our board committees and support the board on numerous items throughout the year. So we would not be as high functioning as we are without your support. So thank you both. And next, I would like to issue a massive thank you to our Scouts Canada National Volunteers. So the Council Key 3s, the functional Key 3s, and our Council voting representatives. Scouting would not be possible without you. I want to thank you for choosing to invest your time in Scouts. So please stand for a round of applause. Thank you. These governance enhancements that I've mentioned are essential to ensuring that we have the right structure and expertise to guide Scouts Canada effectively into our future. So next, moving on to a financial overview and our strategic investments. As you've heard over the weekend, in fiscal 24, our focus remained on sustainable financial health and strategic investments in key areas that is going to help carry Scouts Canada forward. We enhanced financial reporting, which allows the board to have better oversight. And despite ending with a deficit, the board chose to make strategic, intentional investments. They were carefully chosen to support the long-term resilience in several critical areas. First was people and culture. We're investing in leadership and inclusivity, supporting the dedicated volunteers and staff who deliver our exceptional Scouting experiences across the country. Second, digital transformation. I could tell from the giggle in one of the recommendations around strong digital platforms that I think everyone in the audience would agree with that strategic priority. Our technology investments are modernizing our operations, enhancing the way we engage with our members, and making Scouting more accessible, efficient, and most importantly, safe. And last, risk management, one of our main obligations as your board. We're committed to minimizing our risk across the organization. We're addressing property consolidation needs and managing essential camp operations to safeguard our assets. Looking ahead, reducing our annual deficit remains a top priority. We have an ambitious yet achievable goal of breaking even by the end of fiscal 2027. This will require further tightening of our internal financial controls, which is part of our plan for this upcoming year. The focus on long-term sustainability is essential to ensuring that Scouts Canada continues to serve young Canadians for many generations to come. Scouts Canada's commitment to inclusivity was recognized on a global level this year with the Diversio Global Inc. Workplace Impact Award. This celebrates our efforts to build a diverse and welcoming environment for all members. Fostering diversity and inclusivity isn't just a goal, it's critical to our mission and values. We continued on our important reconciliation journey this year by deepening our relationship with the Anishinaabe Aski Nation, also known as NAN, and traveling to Indigenous communities across Canada to continue formally delivering our apology. I was honored to sit in circle with members from NAN, listening to stories of strength and resilience from survivors following last year's AGM. While we still have much work to continue, Scouts Canada is committed to moving from words to meaningful actions that will foster respect, healing, and positive change. Last month, the board met in Halifax for our fall board meetings, and we had the wonderful privilege of joining the Northwest Jabuktuk beaver colony to George Island. Engaging with these young beavers and their families reminded us of how powerful and the lasting impact that scouting has within communities across Canada. It also highlighted the importance for the board to understand how we can serve local needs. We had a great day, as you can see from the pictures. And then looking into the future, we're setting an ambitious path through our new strategic plan. I want to thank each of you in the room for the role that you've all played over the course of this weekend in co-creating our next strategic plan. This roadmap isn't only a guide for us, but it represents our aspirations for Scouts Canada's growth and impact in the future. Key aspects of our next strategy development that the board approved was establishing our youth committee. This truly gives youth a seat at the table. The Youth Strategy Committee will have equal voice and equal decision-making power and will collaborate with the Strategic Planning Committee, ensuring that young voices directly shape the future of Scouting in Canada. So please continue to be involved. Continue to let your voice be heard. And I'm asking that everyone champion and lean in together. Let's get a bit uncomfortable so we can imagine what the future could look like. It's together that we are going to shape the best future for Scouts Canada and thus for Canadian youth. Success will be achieved with our next strategic plan when we all feel excited about it, and most importantly, when we all feel connected to it. At the 43rd World Scout Conference in Cairo, Scouts Canada and l'Association des Scouts du Canada proudly represented our country in a gathering of 176 nations, all dedicated to empowering young people. Canada earned a seat on the World Scouting Committee through the election of Steve Kent, ensuring that Scouts Canada has a strong voice on the global stage. Additionally, we had the successful appointment of Adam Peach as a youth representative of the Inter-American Scout region. In this role, Adam is going to contribute to shaping the future of scouting in the Americas and around the world. Adam, if you're in the room, can you just stand so we can acknowledge? Congratulations, Adam, and thanks for representing Scouts Canada. These global connections enrich our own movement, bringing inspiration and collaboration that fuels our mission back at home. So in closing, serving this past year as Scouts Canada's first female board chair has been an honor beyond words. I would like to offer a special thanks to Andrew Obi, who is our past chair, for his invaluable mentorship to me during my first year. Our movement is truly at its best when good, solid mentorship is in place. I am deeply grateful for every board member, every volunteer, every scout, and every parent and guardian across the country for your unwavering commitment and shared purpose. Together, we are creating a future where young Canadians will have the skills, the resilience, and values needed to lead with integrity and with optimism. Last, but definitely not least, I want to recognize and thank our outgoing board members. So if you don't mind standing when your name is called to be recognized, Stephen Loney, Rodney Nelson, and Bill Schulte. Thank you each for your years of service, much beyond beyond me, your thoughtful participation at board meetings over this last year, and your ultimate dedication to our vision. Thank you. Together we have achieved much, and I am excited to continue working together to welcome new Scouts, to deepen our impact, and to carry forward the legacy of Scouts Canada. Thank you. And with that, may I have a motion to approve the fiscal 24 Board of Governors report? May I have a seconder? Rodney Nelson. Thank you. Okay. Please cast your vote in Slido to approve the report on behalf of the Board of Governors.
Motion carried.
Perfect. Thanks, Pat. All right. I would now like to call on the NK3 to deliver their report, please.
Oh, don't do that. I'm almost done here, Justin. I don't need an action. Well, for the first time, Madam Chair, we would like to deliver the report of the National Key 3 of what we achieved in the last year, as well as what was achieved by an organization made up of thousands of volunteers and thousands of youth members from coast to coast to coast. We're proud of what we've done and, of course, excited for the future. And we believe that we have only gotten better as we've learned and grown in our ability to work with everyone while centering youth and starting with yes.
At the beginning of this year, we set a number of goals. Can you hear me?
Just keep talking. We'll tell you if not.
At the beginning of this year, we set a number of goals that we hope to operationalize in key areas, including growing our membership as we continue to rebuild from the COVID-19 pandemic, including to progress along our diversity, equity, inclusion, and reconciliation journey with our apology to Indigenous communities. Advance our safety goals with keeping safety at top of mind in everything that we do as an organization. Improving our volunteer journey, ensuring that our volunteers are equipped with the tools they need to deliver great, safe scouting adventures. And of course, to continue to advance our goal of breaking even by the end of 2027.
I think, am I okay? We'll go with the microphone. Go with the microphone. Oh, no, I think you might have fixed it. Yep. Perfect. Thank you, Kevin. On growth, we should all be really, really proud, but look, a particular and special thank you to all of the CK3s and Group Support Centre colleagues that are in the room. You've tirelessly worked hard at trying to bring back our numbers, and that has borne fruit that you can see on the screen now. But also, of course, they might not be in the room. Of course, some will be, but our group commissioners and group support scouters also do an incredible amount of work on the ground to try and create more places for young people. Nationally, we tried this year a few different approaches to help create new provision and increase retention. That's included, for the first time, marketing directly to adults to call for them as volunteers. That led to around about 1,000 leads, but only about a 1% conversion. So we'll work hard over the next year to work out how we can try and make that pathway more efficient. There has been local ideas you've heard already that have come to the forefront, things like accelerated onboarding or discounted membership for older sections, and we'll continue over the next year to work to help those local pearls become national assets. We also had, through the very kind and generous support of the Greater Toronto Scout Foundation, a project to try supported onboarding in Toronto, and we focused, restructured our capacity to focus support on programme delivery within new sections as well. That all said, it remains our downfall that our retention is not high enough, and that we don't have enough capacity, i.e. spaces in sections to welcome new people, new young people. And so that will remain a priority and a focus.
Of course, safety is, I don't know if this is working. Do you want me to try this?
I think it's working.
Is it working? Okay. Of course, safety is our license to operate. When we think of safety, we of course think of both the physical safety, but as well as getting our volunteers on the floor screened and ready to take action with the young people, just as Liam was mentioning before. We're proud this year to report that our goal of achieving a 95% readiness metric amongst our volunteers within 90 days of signing up to be a volunteer was met. At year end, we had completed this goal of training within 90 days. At the low end, the report indicated 89% of volunteers were ready, and with a peak of 97% of volunteers were ready. This is an incredible, incredible change in the statistics that we've reported in previous years, and shows the dedication of our teams on the ground and our scouters at getting the job done when it comes to being ready to go on the floor. At the same time, we experienced challenges regionally with our police record checks and VSS check processes, and we've worked hard with the local agencies involved to attempt to remedy these situations that do delay getting volunteers on the floor. Councils such as Saskatchewan, Chinook, and Tri-Shores used volunteer networks in order to support onboarding and achieved the best results in this category, leveraging more people who are ready to help and ready to welcome new volunteers into our scouting family.
This past year, we set up with the goal of achieving an average Net Promoter Score amongst our volunteers of 0. This was achieved with an average score of 1 throughout the entire year. As always, we have seen seasonal highs and lows within this survey. The winter and spring always being lower with the craziness of those seasons, and then fall and summer scoring higher on average as in previous years. Common challenges in those surveys surfaced, including lack of communication on local events and activities, simplification of the program overall, and highlighting the difficulty in recruiting and screening new volunteers. Another great success that we had in the volunteer journey was, of course, the relaunch of our group commissioner orientation course that took place at 6 different locations across the country on our cross-country tour of the GCO course, which enabled us to train over 400 group commissioners on the tools needed to be successful in the role. As we know, group commissioners are the engine of our groups, and groups are the engine of our programs locally. And this course had an overall NPS of 88, which is an incredible success from the team that worked to plan and deliver that across the country.
We ask parents and guardians quarterly to tell us what they think of the programme. And for those not familiar with how Net Promoter Scores work, a score of 40 is very, very good. Anything above 0 is good, but 40 is exceptional. So you should be incredibly proud that the programmes you're delivering are things that parents and guardians appreciate and think are valuable. In terms of the things that they highlight that they most particularly like about our programme, that includes leadership development, the fact that young people can get together, socialise and have fun, and the presence of diverse experiences, so getting to try new things that they wouldn't get to try anywhere else. In terms of things that people report that they'd like to see more of, better communication in terms of what their young people are taking part in and communication with groups, more outdoor activities, and more practicing of scouting skills. In terms of what great stuff has been happening nationally, we saw 12,000 young people take part in the Sasquatch Seeker Challenge, with 200 groups telling us what adventures they got up to. That was hosted by our Chief Scout, Survivorman Les Stroud, and saw young people from across the country taking part in that exciting initiative. We also saw thousands of young people take part in international trips and big, large domestic events. From the 3,000 that took part in Pacific Jamboree that you've already heard about, to contingents that attended places such as Australia, UK, Finland, US, and more.
As Jordan had mentioned in her report, we continue on our journey of reconciliation with Indigenous peoples across Canada. We completed the process which we had outlined in previous years in order to formally apologize to First Nations, Métis and Inuit peoples for Scouting's role in Indian residential schools. We did so after listening, learning, and consulting with Indigenous people from across Canada as to what would be an appropriate and meaningful apology and what potential actions and collaborations we could have in the future. This apology was done in tandem with other pieces of work to better understand what this could look like, such as a report produced by the Indigenous-led consulting firm Future Ancestors to help us understand what collaboration would look like or could look like for Scouts Canada and First Nations, Métis and Inuit partners. We signed a memorandum of understanding with the Nan First Nation. This memorandum, for those of you who aren't aware, is with regard to a healing initiative for men who, as children, were members of our organization and were victimized by one of the most egregious instances of sexual abuse by a single member of our organization in our history. Signing this memorandum of understanding is a step much too late, but nonetheless an important step in acknowledging the role that we must play, but also an incredible example of the grace from a First Nation who we have harmed so directly in order to come to the table with us and share how we have harmed them, but then also to want to continue to engage with us as we held out our hand asking if they wish to. This is an incredible opportunity for Scouts Canada to take in action the words that we have said in our apology, and I believe we all should be very proud of this particular step as we move forward on our journey of reconciliation. We also partnered with Autumn Pilche to deliver and develop the first reconciliation-focused youth summit in the history of our organization, which was an opportunity for young people from across the organization, both in formal and non-formal leadership roles, to come together and discuss some of the issues in Scouts Canada's reconciliation journey, as well as the wider context in our society. When looking towards our other work that took place in the diversity, equity, and inclusion piece, we created a new recruitment process for staff roles, resulting in improvements to hiring processes, as well as leading to more diverse hiring, as well as an award that Jordan mentioned in her presentation from Diversio. The RCGT inclusiveness audit was also completed, which gave us insight into the sentiments of our membership and recommendations on ways to increase our inclusivity as we move forward. It gave us a window into what's really going on in the organization and how people in our organization perceive and understand Scouts Canada. We also designed and implemented a new system for collecting more data about the demographics of our membership so we can better understand who Scouts Canada is and so that we can better serve our membership and understand who chooses to be a Scout for a long time, a short time, or not at all.
Financial stewardship of the organization continues to be a top priority of the National K3. As Jordan mentioned earlier, this past fall, the board approved a 5-year deficit reduction plan to reduce the operational deficit to a break-even position by the end of 2027. To support this, the board has created the new finance subcommittee. This subcommittee will improve financial governance and oversight, while also adding valuable insight and support to the staff team. Beginning in September of 2022, the finance team began a process of improving and refining our financial control mechanisms. And while there's still a long way to go in that area, work continues to improve as we progress as an organization so that we can better manage our finances and ensure that we stay on track to meet this break-even position by the end of 2027. And we've started the request for proposal process for a new accounting system. This will be a key piece to improving our financial controls as an organization and is a huge piece of the technical infrastructure that our finance team requires to reach our goal of break even by 2027.
So they're the things that we focused on last year. Going into the next year, we'll continue to focus on how we can get back to and move towards pre-COVID numbers with a target of next year reaching 48,000 young people. We'll conclude the current strategic plan, and as you've been taking part in the whole of this event, create and co-design a new strategic plan for Scouting in Canada. And we'll make progress, having communicated widely what we think the roadmap for digital transformation looks like. The first year focusing on the foundations and things like cybersecurity, governance, and data.
Additionally, we'll work to continue to establish longitudinal tracking of our adult, volunteer, and affiliated bodies' perception of what Scouts Canada is, what it looks like, what it feels like, and what Canadians perceive us as. Additionally, we'll work on our corporate culture to improve staff engagement and achieving an average Net Promoter Score of 40. And of course, continue improving upon our safety mechanisms as a leader on the world stage within the scouting movement to continue to ensure that we are operating safe programs across the country.
Well, Liam, Justin, it's been an honor to work with you as well as Andrew. And as my last act as National Commissioner, Madam Chair, I move that the report of the National Key 3 to the members be accepted.
Wonderful. Thank you, Paul Hoskin, as our seconder. Please take the time to cast your vote in Slido. Yep, George?
George, one sec, you're going to have to wait for the microphone.
Here, I'll bring it over to you, George, one sec. Oh, on Slido? Are you having trouble with Slido? Or?
I'm unable to send a question.
Oh.
So I'll ask my question.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Would someone kindly explain what Net Promoter Score is? I've never heard of it. Thank you.
Yep.
Very happy to, George. Sorry, it's on us to have explained that better. We're not likely to take more questions from the floor, so what I'm going to stop is a flood now of different questions. But let me answer that one for sure. So Net Promoter Score is a way of testing whether or not someone would recommend your service or product to another person. So the question we'd ask is, as a parent or carer, how likely are you to recommend Scouts Canada and its programme to other parents and carers? They give a score between 0 and 10. And what you do is you take the people that say they give a 8, 9, or a 10, don't hold me to that, I think that's right, and you subtract those who would give you a 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. And then you come out with a number. So anything above 0 is good, anything above 40 is world class.
Thanks, Liam. Okay, so votes should be cast in Slido. Patricia,
Yes,
when you're
motion
ready.
carried.
Wonderful. Thank you to our NK3 for that report. I would now like to hand the floor over to Andrew Obie, who is our chair of the nominating committee, to give his report of the nominating committee.
All right, I assume these mics are, sounds like they're working okay. Good afternoon, everybody. Great to be back at the AGM with you all. Today I'm going to report on and seek approval of the recommendations of the nominating committee, a hard-working group who this year had an even more unusually large task, given the need to replace the National Commissioner and the National Youth Commissioner at the ends of their terms, as well as manage the slate of candidates for the board. So There's a few pieces to this, and I assume the green button moves us to the next. So the first is the election of the officers of the corporation. So, Madam Chair, I'd like to move the approval by the voting members of the Nominating Committee's recommendation for the officers. Those officers are Jordan Moore from Ontario as the Chair of the Board, Sirius Amili from British Columbia as the Vice Chair Strategic of the Board, Alan Bierce from Alberta as the Vice Chair Finance, Justin Chenier moving to the National Commissioner role, and Cadence James as the National Youth Commissioner.
Thank you. Could I get a seconder? Thank you, Alan. Okay, please cast your votes in Slido.
Motion carried.
Wonderful. Thanks, Patricia.
And maybe before I move on to the next one, I'd just like to highlight that again, that makes this the youngest NK3 that Scouts Canada has ever had. Including Mr. Burns. Next, I'd like to move the approval by the voting members of the Nominating Committee's recommendation that Mark Jocelyn be the honorary legal counsel and therefore an officer of the corporation.
Perfect. Can I get a seconder? Thank you. Seconder Amber. Please cast your votes in Slido.
Motion carried.
Thank you, Patricia.
So next, consistent with the Partnership for Canadian Scouting Agreement signed by Scouts Canada on September 21st, 2012, by that guy right there, I'd like to move the approval by the voting members of the Nominating Committee's recommendation that Christine Dupuis from Quebec City, Quebec, be appointed as the representative of l'Association de Scouts de Canada to the Scouts Canada Board.
Wonderful. Seconder? Thank you, Bill. As a seconder, please cast your votes in Slido.
Motion carried.
Thank you.
Great. Now, consistent with Article 5 of the bylaws, which outlines requirements for youth representation and geographic representation on the Board of Governors, I'd like to move the approval by the voting members of the Nominating Committee's recommendation for the following individuals to be elected to the Board of Governors. Clément Bélanger from Quebec, Sandy Burns from Ontario, Ethan Koudnies, also from Ontario, Arnold Guerin from British Columbia, Heath Johnson from New Brunswick, Jenna Marchant from British Columbia, Erica Zachary from Saskatchewan, and Michael Nebesny from Ontario.
Can I get a seconder from the floor? Thank you, Greg. Seconder. Please cast your votes in Slido.
Motion carried.
Thanks, Patricia.
Great. And finally, in this section, I'd like to move the approval by the voting members of the Nominating Committee's recommendation respecting the election of 10 honorary voting members and the 110 members non-voting to the Scouts Canada Corporation as circulated in the Nominating Committee's final report.
And can I get a seconder? Yep. Thank you, Jason, as our seconder. Please cast your votes in Slido.
Motion carried.
Thank you, Patricia.
Great. Let me take this opportunity to thank the members of the Nominating Committee. It's not an insignificant amount of work to review what, quite frankly, was a very inspiring and impressive list of candidates who cared enough about this organization to put their hands up and offer to serve in the capacity as a board member. So maybe just a quick stand if you're in the room. Tony Nathan, Steve Kent, who is not here, Adam Peach, Laura Jarvis, Riley Matthews, and our one and only Jordan Moore serving me. Thank you guys for the hard work. I know it was a lot of late nights and it's work that we take very, very seriously. It's a very important part of the governance process for the organization. That committee always is made up of 3 council voting members who are elected by the council voting members in order to participate in that process. So in advance of this meeting, we sought and received nominations from among the council voting members for candidates to stand as the 3 members of the nominating committee for the 24-25 scouting year to make these recommendations at the AGM next year. There were a total of 6 nominations that you see here on the page, and all of the voting members are asked to vote for up to 3, ideally 3, of the candidates that are listed in the Slido. And we will take a little bit of we'll take a full 90 seconds to allow people, both here and present and online, to vote. So if we can get the Slido. That's great. Sorry, Vanessa. I don't know. I've had some pretty good pie when visiting PEI. I just have to say.
It's correct.
Correct in the vote, just not on the slide. Okay. It is correct in my notes as well, so sorry about that, Vanessa. So a reminder, 3. So the way this will work is the youth member on the list with the highest number of votes will automatically be elected as the youth member, and then the other 2 slots will be filled by whoever has the highest, the top 2 numbers of votes. That would, it may involve more youth members. There's no limit on the number of youth members that can be on the committee, but there must be at least 1 appointed. And we'll wait for Pat to bring me the envelope. Go ahead. It's a repeat after me song. Yeah. Oh, here comes Pat. The tension rises. Kevin, do we have a drum roll? Okay. Okay, I'm thrilled to announce that elected to the nominating committee for 2024-2025, Farkan Ahmad, Vanessa McFarland, not from PI, from PEI, and Laura Jarvis from the Greater Toronto Council. You want your paper back? Great, thank you everybody for your participation. I'll hand it back to the chair.
Wonderful. Thank you, Andrew. And thank you again to everyone who served on the nominating committee this year. Your work is very critical to the governance of our organization. So thank you, and looking forward to working on those newly elected to the committee. Next, I would like to call upon our Vice Chair of Finance, Alan Bierce, who is going to come up to present the adoption of the auditor's report and financial statements. So, Alan.
Hello, everyone. I would like to move that the auditor's report for the Scouts Canada National Operations dated November 13th, 2024 be accepted, and that the financial statements of the national operations of Scouts Canada for the year ending August 31st, 2024 be accepted.
Thank you, Alan. Can I get a seconder? Thank you. Isa, seconder. Thank you. Please cast your votes in Slido.
Motion carried.
Thank you, Patricia.
Okay. I would also like to move that the firm of Kelly Hubers McNeely be appointed as auditors for the national operation for the year ending August 31st, 2025.
Thank you. Can I call for a seconder? Thank you. Isa again as the seconder. Thank you. Please cast your votes in Slido.
Motion carried.
Thank you, Patricia.
And finally, I move that the annual report of the national operation of Scouts Canada for the year ending August 31st, 2024 be adopted.
Perfect. And can I get a seconder? Thank you, Jasper. As our seconder, please cast your votes in Slido.
Motion carried.
Wonderful. Thanks, Patricia. Thank you, Alan. All right, next, I would like to move over to other business. I would like to welcome two special guests to come up and give a few words of acknowledgement. The first is going to be acknowledged by Derek Robertson, who's joining us from the Salvation Army. As you know, Scouts Canada and the Salvation Army have a long-standing relationship. So thank you for being here today with us, Derek.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I'm pleased to be representing the Salvation Army and bring greetings on behalf of Captain Shauna Golding, who is the Territorial Youth Secretary. I'm sending greetings on behalf of the Salvation Army Canada and Bermuda Territory as you gather for your Scouts Canada Annual General Meeting. The Salvation Army and the Scouting movement have a long history of partnering in Canada and worldwide. We are thankful for our ongoing relationship and our shared commitment to supporting and developing young people across Canada and around the world. Scouts Canada's impact strengthens children, youth, and communities. The part you have played in developing well-rounded youth who are better prepared for success in the world, along with your vision to help Canadian youth make a meaningful contribution to creating a better world, is not taken for granted. We are thankful for over 80 years of partnership with you and your dedicated leaders within our communities, and we look forward to continuing and strengthening our relationship in the coming years. Be encouraged and refreshed as you gather together. I pray that continued strength will be yours as you lead amidst the challenging dynamics unfolding in our world. Thank you.
Thank you, Derek. Next, I would like to welcome Serge Jalonneau, who is the president of the ASC, to come up to the stage and give a few words. As you know, ASC is our French-speaking counterpart here in Canada, and we're unique in our structure in that we are the only country as a part of WASM that has 2 NSOs within one country. And as you know, we have our cooperation agreement that is now, I think we authored that in 2012, so 12 years old, ensuring that collaboration between our 2 NSOs has the view of benefiting all youth across Canada. So thank you, Serge.
Thank you, Jordan. You picked a couple of my lines, so thank you. Well, first of all, good afternoon, everyone. First, thank you. Thank you to give us the opportunity to be here and discuss with you a subject that we all have in common, the Scouts. You explained my next text now. I have to go to the other one. No, that's okay. I was here last year as a new chairperson of the board. I discovered passionate people who have the same interests as we do in the Association des Scouts du Canada, and the same difficulties. I see the same passion this year. In August, we were in Cairo to discuss and vote the strategic plan for the WASM. We are here to work on your strategic plan, and in 2 weeks, I will be in Colombia. Imagine what? Strategic plan for the Inter-American region. I don't believe I am an expert, but I'm starting to understand a little bit what is a strategic plan. But you know what? It's gonna be our turn to prepare our strategic plan in 2025 for our years from 2026 to 2029. All those discussion we had this summer here and we're gonna have in 2 weeks are preparing the association for that. So that's gonna give us a good clue on how we want scouting to be done, mainly in French. During the weekend, we already had discussion for exchange of solutions that will really help both organizations. Now, let me say some word in French for my fellow who are following us on YouTube. Bonjour à tous, et surtout à notre commissaire Vincent Duval, et surtout à mon ami Frank Lecoadou, qui devrait être en train de regarder la session. Tout ce travail que nous faisons avec Scouts Canada sera bénéfique pour l'association et Scouts Canada. And finally, I am anxious to meet with you again next year. Good continuation.
Thank you, Serge. All right, next we will move into our confirmation of acts, where I'm putting a motion on the floor. Be it resolved that all acts, bylaws, proceedings, appointments, elections, and payments enacted, made, done, and taken by the Board of Governors and the National Leadership Team members since the last annual meeting of the corporation, referred to in the minutes of these bodies, of the annual general meeting, or of the annual report, or in any way connected with the day-to-day business of the corporation, are hereby approved and confirmed. May I get a second? Thank you, Ed. As a seconder, please cast your votes in Slido.
Motion carried.
Thank you, Patricia. Next, I'd like to move into recognition for outstanding service. And first, I would like to call JF Champlain up to the stage, please. JF was previously presented the Medal of Fortitude, and today we would like to present you with a plaque to acknowledge your contributions to the National Board. So please come up to the stage. Can I have, sorry, Stephen, come on up. Thank you, JF. Where do you want us? Yeah. Sure, yeah.
Got Jordan right in front of Jeff. That's perfect. Right there. I cannot see.
Congratulations, JF. Next, I'd like to take a minute to recognize our outgoing board members. And we would like to call Rodney Nelson up to the stage. Rodney, today we're presenting you with the Medal of Merit, which, as we know, recognizes especially good service to Scouting. So thank you for all of your contributions. And we did notice while we gave you a new nickname, Rodney. You're Rodney Rod Nelson. I was joking that it sounds like a wrestling name, so don't mess with him. Congratulations, Rodney. Thank you. All right. Next, I would like to call Bill Schulte up to the stage. We'd like to recognize Bill for his service by awarding him with the Silver Wolf. Which, as you know, recognizes the most exceptional character for Scouting. Thank you, Bill. Congratulations. And last, but definitely not least, we would like to call Mr. Stephen Loney up to the stage, who is also being recognized today with a Silver Wolf. Stephen, thank you. Wonderful. And congratulations to all of our award winners over this weekend. So before I move into my final closing thoughts, I just wanted to again thank everyone for your attention and participation during the AGM. Thank you again, Bill, Rodney, and Stephen, for your dedication and service to the Board of Governors. I would like to welcome Cadence and Arnold And Ethan and Arnold, I look forward to meeting you in person wherever you are in this room. There you are. Welcome. We look forward to working together. And also, before I just go into my closing thoughts, I want to offer a huge thanks to Robin, Emily, Patricia, and Kevin. They are tirelessly working. Tirelessly working in the background to make sure that everything runs smoothly for us, so thank you. I did want to just share a few closing comments that are not very well rehearsed, but for those of you who sit on the board, you know that I take many, many notes over the course of the weekend and always close off each day with a few thoughts. So in true form, I have been doing that over the course of this weekend. Again, just wanted to issue a congratulations to all of our award winners over this weekend, and thank you for your contributions to Scouting. Thanks to the conference organizers, our MCs and facilitators. Emma, happy birthday again. I want to acknowledge all of our speakers. I think we've had really deep, robust, exciting discussion over this weekend. And you, all of our attendees and volunteers. Because of this, you are the ones who make this all possible, so thank you. One thing that I pulled out as a theme is that the world is changing at a rapid pace. And there are 6 main things that I pulled out from that most of it came from our speakers yesterday, but that we're in this slide towards individualism, that we're seeing volunteers and donors declining, that we have climate vulnerability, we have disengaged youth, and we have a difficult economic condition right now. And I think that we need to flip this instead of feeling doom and gloom around this, and we need to turn it on its head and see it as an opportunity for Scouts to step in with like-minded partners and within Scouting to really be the opportunity and present solutions that are fit for purpose for each of these concerns. Another few themes from the weekend that I noted that I'm excited to pull into future board meetings and strategy discussions are around radical kindness. It's the essence of what we do, so maybe we need to brand that and take that with us forward as we think about the future of Scouting. I think Bruce pointed out a really important reality that we need to have some tough conversations as we embark on our next strategic plan, and that's that central tension between being relevant for tomorrow but honoring our legacy and history. I like the idea of social good. Again, when I think about what Scouts does, social good always comes to mind. We do foster belonging, and we can do more of that through thinking about how we build capacity stronger. We saw today that we have data at our fingertips, so let's use it to learn and understand, and let's embark on a journey of learning together and embrace failing, seeing that failing is actually how we learn more, and celebrating that when we try things and they don't work, because when we try them the next time, we're going to be smarter and we're going to do a better job. And last but not least, I would just like everyone, as ambassadors as we walk out of this organization, to remember that we are stronger together. Thank you. With that, I move to adjourn the AGM. However, I do have one final little point of levity. It was a surprise gift from Andrew Obie and Andrew Dallas, who is a very talented wood craftsman that I didn't know. So with that, I would like to motion to adjourn. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Do we have any housekeeping notes for? I don't need to second it. I can do it. Oh, do I need to actually state it? I motion to adjourn the 114th Annual General Meeting of Scouts Canada Corporation. One more time.